Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, I want you to imagine a mosquito bite. But it's not one that just itches. This is a bite that could lead to months or maybe even years of absolutely crippling pain. It's a disease with a name that literally means to bend up in agony. And today, we're digging into the hidden threat of chikungunya. You know, the name itself, it pretty much tells the whole story. Chikungunya. It comes from the Makonde language, way back in Tanzania, and it means that which bends up. And this isn't some metaphor. No, it's a literal description of the kind of severe joint pain that forces people to stoop over, all contorted. The name is a warning label, really. It describes the main symptom before a doctor even has to.
Okay, so we get the name is intense, but beyond that, what exactly is this virus? Let's get into the science of it.
So, chikungunya, or CHKV if you want to get technical, is an RNA virus. And it gets around thanks to two specific mosquitoes, the Aedes aegypti and the Aedes albopictus. And yeah, if those names sound familiar, they should. They're the exact same culprits that spread dengue and Zika. And that's really key because it means the same mosquito in one single bite could potentially give you different diseases. They're most active at dawn and dusk, which kind of turns that peaceful morning coffee on the porch into a bit of a risk. And you gotta understand, this is not some small, contained problem. No way. Chikungunya has been on the move for decades now, and honestly, its global expansion is only accelerating.
Let's look at the history here. It all started back in 1952, first spotted in Tanzania. And for about 50 years, it caused these scattered outbreaks. But then, something changed. The pace just exploded. In 2005, there was a massive outbreak in India. Then in 2013, it hit the Americas and just ripped through the Caribbean. And now, it's a recognized threat in over 100 countries. This timeline isn't just a history lesson. It's the track record of a virus that's really, really good at conquering new territory.
And just to be clear, this isn't some old story. We're talking about right now. In 2024 alone, health officials reported over 200,000 cases just in the Americas. That's not some abstract statistic. That's hundreds of thousands of people this year in places like Brazil and Paraguay dealing with this disease. The virus isn't just spreading, it's thriving. So you might be asking, why is this happening? Why now? Well, the tough answer is we're kind of rolling out the red carpet for it. First, you've got climate change. The planet's getting warmer, and that allows these mosquitoes to survive in new places that used to be too cold for them, like parts of Europe and the United States. And second, as our cities get bigger, we create these perfect little mosquito resorts. Think about it. That old tire in the yard, the saucer under your plant, a clogged gutter, that's a 5-star hotel for mosquito breeding. We are, unintentionally, helping this virus expand its empire. All right, so let's get personal. What actually happens if you get infected? What does it feel like? After a bite from an infected mosquito, the symptoms usually show up in about a week. And when they do, this virus launches a nasty 2-phase attack. So it kicks off with what's called the acute phase. And man, it hits you like a ton of bricks. A sudden, really high fever, a splitting headache, and usually a rash. But the hallmark symptom, the thing that makes it chikungunya, is that crippling joint pain. It often hits you symmetrically in your wrists, ankles, and hands. It's that bending up pain. But here's the kicker, and this is what makes chikungunya so cruel. For a lot of people, the misery doesn't end there. Once the fever's gone, the chronic phase can start. And this is the long haul. We're talking persistent, arthritis-like joint pain, a deep, profound fatigue, and even depression that can stick around for months or sometimes for years. This is what makes it so devastating. I really want you to let that sink in. About 40% of people, they get sick and then they get better. But a staggering 60%, that's the majority, are left dealing with these chronic symptoms. So for every 10 people who get this virus, 6 of them could be facing debilitating pain and fatigue long after that initial infection is, quote, over. It's this chronic, life-altering fallout that really sets chikungunya apart. Okay, so we get how serious this is. The question now is, what can we do about it? Because with chikungunya, there's no cure. So prevention isn't just your best strategy, it's your only strategy. So let's talk about a defense plan. It really boils down to a 4-step defense plan, and it's all stuff you can do. 1. Use a good repellent, something registered with the EPA that has DEET or picaridin. 2. Cover up. Wear long sleeves, long pants, especially around dawn and dusk, when these mosquitoes are most active. 3. Mosquito-proof your house. Make sure your window and door screens don't have any holes. And 4, and this is a big one, make your yard a no-fly zone. Once a week, just do a patrol and dump out any standing water you find. Flower pots, buckets, old tires, even bottle caps. It takes less than a tablespoon of water for them to lay eggs.
But okay, let's talk about the worst-case scenario. What happens if you do get sick? What are the treatment options, and is there any hope on the horizon?
All right, this is probably the most critical takeaway about treatment, so listen up. There is no cure. There's no magic pill, no antiviral drug that can kill the virus. Once you're infected, your immune system is in the driver's seat. So all medical care is what we call supportive care. That just means it's all about managing the symptoms, the fever, the pain, to make you more comfortable while your body does the hard work of fighting it off.
So, how do you manage that awful pain? The game plan has one incredibly important rule. Your first choice, your go-to, is acetaminophen for the fever and pain. Now, you might think, what about ibuprofen? It's an anti-inflammatory, perfect for joint pain. And here's the most important rule. You cannot, I repeat, cannot take NSAIDs like ibuprofen until a doctor has confirmed that you do not have dengue fever. The early symptoms are super similar, and taking those drugs during a dengue infection can lead to dangerous bleeding. And for that same reason, just avoid aspirin altogether.
So beyond the pills, what else can you do? It's really about giving your body the support it needs to fight. That means getting a ton of rest and staying super hydrated. If that chronic joint pain sticks around, physical therapy can be a real game changer for getting your mobility back. For severe cases that last months, you might need to see a specialist, a rheumatologist. And finally, this is so important. If you get infected, you become a walking reservoir for the virus. So you have to protect yourself from more mosquito bites to protect your family and your whole community from it spreading further.
But after all this tough news, the story doesn't end there. There has been a huge, game-changing breakthrough. For decades, there was nothing, no vaccine. But in late 2023, the FDA approved the very first one. It's called IXCHIQ. It's a single-dose shot for adults. And this is a landmark moment. It finally gives us a real, proactive weapon in the fight against this virus. And that leaves us right here with a really big question. On one hand, we have a vaccine, an amazing triumph of science that can protect individuals. But on the other hand, we have a planet that's getting warmer and cities that are getting bigger, creating a perfect expanding empire for the mosquito that carries this thing. Science has handed us this incredible new shield. But our public health systems, our communities, our governments, are we actually ready to fight a battle on a front that's getting wider every single day? The answer to that will decide the future of chikungunya. And it's an answer that's not just in a vaccine, but in everything we do next.